In my senior year of high school, my deskmate Willow fed me a cookie. After I finished eating, my face turned red. Then she giggled and said it was something she picked up from the floor. I said, even if it was picked up from the floor, it still tastes good because you fed it to me. The golden sunset spilled into the classroom, and I saw her face turn red too. That was me who hid it. Willow, the classic rich girl, the kind whose family has so much money it could never be spent in a lifetime. And me, George, well, my family's okay, I guess. Thanks to my dad, who clung to her family's influence, we also counted as well off. But compared to the powerful Lou family, we were miles and miles apart. As for me and her, we were childhood friends who constantly quarreled. We couldn't stand each other, yet couldn't help missing one another when apart. Why did we end up as a pair of bickering childhood friends? Well, that all started with my dad. When my dad was young, he was a troublemaker, always fighting, never studying. His life was supposed to start rough and end in tragedy, but somehow, maybe due to some cosmic good karma, he accidentally saved Willow's father's life. From that moment, his fortunes skyrocketed, and he reached the peak of his life. And after maxing out his simp attribute, he even married a beautiful, well-educated woman and had an exceptionally outstanding son, me. That was the foundation of my and Willow's childhood friends status. As for why we became enemies later, well, that was also my dad's fault. I'm 1 year older than Willow, but my dad wanted me to be her classmate, so he delayed sending me to school for a year. He would nag me every day, telling me to play with her, take care of her, protect her, and become her best friend. I heard it so often my ears practically formed calluses, but I still obeyed him. It's just that Willow was spoiled, moody, and bossy. Even though I was older, I somehow ended up acting like her little brother. Come on, Dad. One simp in the house is enough. After all, Willow's dad adored her too, so it was mutual devotion. But his daughter wasn't him. Simping for her was exhausting. Sigh, my dad. He's really beyond words. Anyway, the real turning point that made Willow and me true enemies was my dad giving me the nickname Peter Long. At first, he just wanted me to grow up smart and generous, so he named me Peter Long. But, Dad, did you ever think about how awkward that sounds out loud? Having that nickname was bad enough, but in 5th grade, during a school health check, the nurse, encouraged by one of my classmates, shouted across the room, "Peter Long, is Peter Long here?" Damn, everyone who heard it blushed. And that's how the nickname Long Peter stuck with me all the way from elementary school to high school. It was around then that I started to get rebellious about what my dad told me. He told me to take care of Willow, so I bullied her every day. He told me to be her good friend, so I made her my sworn enemy. Neither set of parents could do a thing about it. But Willow was a true heiress, raised like a princess, so of course she couldn't stand being put upon. Besides, she had tons of pocket money to spend. A pack of bootlickers around her, desperate for cash, gladly dropped to their knees and became her advisors, whipping up all kinds of awful schemes to get at me. Honestly, I couldn't compete with an opponent who paid to win. Later on I regretted it a little. How could a developing country hope to beat a developed one? But the arrow had already left the bow. There was no backing down. Was I going to throw away my pride? No way. What surprised me, though, was that the more we acted like that, the closer we stuck to each other. Weird, did she actually enjoy fighting with me that much? Then again, at home and everywhere else everyone indulged and spoiled her. Only I would slap her, kick her, roast her, and prank her. What a twisted fate. By the time I was a sophomore, I'd figured it out. A freeloader like me couldn't beat a whale who'd spent for every SSR. The only chance was to pull off a total comeback in academics, a climactic reversal during our school years. After graduation we'd go our separate ways anyway. The sky's the limit, and I wouldn't be afraid of her getting revenge. So I made a bet with her. Whoever did better on the college entrance exam would win. The stake was a $1,000,000 class sports car. I'd just learned to drive then and had a real car itch, and I'd wanted that car for ages. But my stingy dad would never buy it for me, and even if he did, he wouldn't let me drive it. So I set my sights on Willow instead. I also guessed she couldn't, or wouldn't, spend that much, so I made sure her family knew about our wager. Mr. Lou was pretty open-minded and actually supported our bet, so I pretended to be clumsy while secretly grinding away. Every mock exam I would sandbag, keeping my score just a hair lower than hers. That left her both pleased and nervous for 3 years. It also drove my dad up the wall for 3 years. After the official exam results came out, I saw a WeChat moment from Willow, thanks to my teachers for their attentive guidance. Without you there'd be number 648 for me. Heh, I immediately posted my own WeChat moment. What a fool I am. How can I miss a question the teacher went over 10 times? I attached a screenshot of a chat. Me, Teacher Wu. I checked the scores, total 747. Lost 2 points on the essay and 1 point on math. Homeroom teacher, that's a pity. you could have gotten full marks. Me, I filled in the last fill in the blank wrong. Teacher, sigh. That question, we covered it many times. You shouldn't have missed it. Me, I was careless. A line of crying emojis. I silently counted to 30 when I checked Willow's WeChat moment again. Her post was gone. Hey, try to mess with me. I beat you by 99 points. Haha, whatever. She lost anyway, and she lost completely, because I beat her by a whole subject. The mayor himself came to our house to personally deliver a banner that read, "Top scorer in the National College Entrance Exam." While she was crying her eyes out, I was happily heading off to register for my driver's license test, just thinking about the day I'd arrive at university, driving a million-yuan sports car, cruising past the crowd of new students without a puff of exhaust. It thrilled me to no end. After I got my license, Mr. Liu actually gifted me a Lamborghini Aventador worth tens of millions. Damn, that car alone was worth more than my family's entire net worth. Mr. Liu was loaded. My dad had once saved his life, and since my dad was also a simp, Mr. Liu liked him a lot. Our two families were very close. I called his parents my godparents, and Willow called my parents hers. Every festival, every big family gathering, our families always sat at the same table. So as a godfather, when he gave me an Aventador, I didn't feel any guilt at all. After a long wait, my Aventador finally arrived after nearly a month of shipping. That day, I was ecstatic, driving it one-handed, taking Willow for a spin and snapping photos everywhere. Willow had been sulking for 2 months, but now she seemed to have gotten over it. I took a selfie with my Aventador and posted it on WeChat. I asked the spring breeze why it roars. It said it's the sound of my Aventador's heart. Then I asked my Aventador why its heart roars. It said the campus beauty of Peking University is waiting for me. I looked at my post and smiled brightly. Facing the ocean, I shouted, "If your heart yearns for something, why fear the long and winding road ahead? George, you deserve every bit of beauty this world has to offer." Willow seemed moved for a moment, but then something crossed her mind. She opened her phone, looked at my WeChat post, and asked, "You're planning to drive that car to school?" Of course. It's more than 2,000 kilometers. Are you insane? I'll have it shipped by trailer. She stared at me thoughtfully and asked, "Don't tell me you went through all this trouble just to bring that car to campus and hit on girls." Well, what else would I do? Willow gave me a look and said coldly, "Take me home." Come on, Willow, don't ruin the mood. I'd barely gotten to enjoy the ride. I definitely didn't want to go back so soon. She opened the car door but didn't get in right away. Instead, she said, "When your dreams are too bright, the disappointment that follows can be just as deep." What's that supposed to mean? You said it yourself, the road ahead is long and full of obstacles. You'd better be ready for your dreams to shatter. What a killjoy. I was just being poetic. You don't like it, couldn't you at least fake it with one lazy okay? Had to say it so bluntly. I started the Aventador and didn't say a word to her on the drive. Honestly, as a decent young man I really didn't want to keep bullying her. After all, without her, where would this beloved Aventador of mine even come from? She's a wonderful, wonderful little sister, her only flaws being she's not very bright and her people skills are questionable. Whap! Willow suddenly slapped the side of my head. Shit, are you trying to get me killed? I'm driving. I snapped. You were talking trash about me in your head. I was speechless, and reflexively looked at Willow with guilty eyes. She raised an eyebrow at me. This perfect sister can go to hell. The next morning I woke up and found the car keys were gone. The car was gone. Worse, my dad and mom were gone too. When I called they were either busy or had something to do. I went to the Liu's house and couldn't find them either. Not until that evening did my parents come back. I was furious. I absolutely hate people messing with my stuff. My dad draped his big tattooed arm over my shoulder and said earnestly, "George, listen to your old man. You're too young. You can't handle this car." "Dad, it's my car. Why can't I handle it? Am I unable to press the gas or the brake?" I ducked out from under his arm and said, indignantly, "George, what your father means is you're inexperienced. This car will blind you when you step out into the world. You won't be able to see it clearly." "Dad, whether I'll see the world clearly later I don't know. But right now I can see you clearly. You just want to steal my car and drive it yourself. What are you saying? Am I really that kind of person in your mind? Do I need to take my son's car and drive it? If I want to drive, can't I just buy my own? You are that kind of person. Don't think I don't know what you two did yesterday and today, cruising around in my car, showing off everywhere." My mom heard that and, a little embarrassed, turned and walked away. I was just bluffing earlier, trying to falsely accuse them so I could get the moral high ground. Seeing my mom's reaction, damn, looks like I hit the truth. Going out to show off in my car, and not even taking me along. You sure talk harshly. Would a father lie to his son? I worry you're inexperienced. Driving such a fine car will attract nothing but flatterers. You'll grow used to mistaking people for friends. Listen to your dad, your IQ is high. I won't deny that. But son, your emotional intelligence is still pretty lacking. Don't worry. I'll find a proper place to keep it for you. I'll hold it until you graduate university and return it to you, guaranteed to be the same as the day you bought it. My dad, seeing me watching my mom's retreating back, quickly pulled me in and continued. I don't buy it for a second. You rotten old man. Always telling me I have no emotional intelligence. No emotional intelligence. If I had no emotional intelligence, could I have written an essay that only lost 2 points? I grew impatient and pressed him again. Just give me a straight answer. I'm leaving in a couple of days. Are you giving my car back or not? No, absolutely not. The experts said you're too young. You can't handle this car. If you take it to college with no family around, people with bad intentions will flock to you. What if you get robbed or kidnapped? This car is a disaster waiting to happen for someone like you. My dad shook his head firmly. Dad, are you kidding me? Since when does a guy who used to be a street thug start listening to experts? What do you mean? Your father is now the vice president of the Calligraphy Association and a committee member of the Musical Theater Society. I'm a proper man of culture now. Don't bring up the past. A hero's worth isn't defined by his origins. Got it? And besides, Willow brought in a famous education expert from TV. He clearly said boys should be raised tough, so no car for you. Also, Willow will transfer you 1,000 yuan a month for living expenses. If that's not enough, don't come to me. Go ask Willow. Damn it. Now I got it. When she said, the road ahead is long and full of obstacles, 2 days ago, she was talking about herself. 1,000 a month. That's 30 yuan a day. Dad, what am I supposed to do with that? Not eat. What if my classmates invite me to dinner? I can't even afford to split the bill. You think that's funny? The expert said. Dad, stop saying the expert said. Why don't you just say Willow said? I'm 19. Still need to be raised poor. Tell me which expert said that so I can go teach him a lesson myself. I couldn't understand why Willow always had to pour cold water on me whenever I was happiest. I'd even sworn I wouldn't bully her anymore. Fine. I'll add another 500. I'll talk to Willow. But if you spend more than that, go ask her. The money's with her anyway. Her school's only about 3 kilometers from yours. Not far. As long as it's a reasonable expense, she'll give it to you. Okay. Lapdog, I muttered, storming off. Willow, just you wait. Setting me up like this. Not letting me take the car to college was a small thing. The real tragedy was that for the next 4 years, I'd have to ask her for money. Sigh. My dad was the Liu family's most loyal simp. Now that the Liu family's daughter had spoken, my dad would definitely carry it out to the letter. No point arguing. All that calligraphy and musical theater stuff, those were just things Mr. Liu liked. My dad was sucking up. Plain and simple. Though to be fair, he'd actually gotten pretty good at calligraphy. For a guy with only an elementary school education, his handwriting was shockingly elegant. Turns out being a simp takes commitment and perseverance. Not everyone's cut out for it. You little bastard. How dare you call your old man names? A whooshing sound cut through the air. A slipper flew right at me. I dodged and darted back into my room. So this is what passes for a cultured man's manners. Even a top scorer like me had never been this arrogant. Damn it all. It's all Willow's fault. And Diego's. Ugh. Whenever I thought of Willow, my teeth clenched with hatred. This grudge had to be paid back. The day before we left, both families had a farewell dinner for me and Willow. George, Willow, once you get to a city, don't keep fighting like you used to. You're university students now. The school's far from home, and you'll have to rely on yourselves. So stick together and help each other. Okay, Mr. Liu said. Hearing that, I glanced at Willow sitting beside me. She made a smug little face at me, clearly delighted. Yeah, like I'd stick together. She set me up big time. Not only was the car gone, but she even got my dad, that old simp, to freeze my secondary card. I wasn't about to go help her. Reluctantly I nodded. Mr. Liu noticed my reluctance and continued. That car really can't go to campus. It's too flashy, and the impressions it gives aren't good. Second, don't expose your wealth. You're young and it'll attract people with bad intentions. Third, we're too far away. If anything sudden happens, we can't rescue you in time. Anyway, you can drive it however you want when you come home for breaks. If you have other wishes, your godfather will try his best to help make them happen. Okay. I nodded, but I wasn't going to tell him he shouldn't control my money. Only people like Willow, who can't solve problems by themselves, go looking for outside help. Not me. I can handle this myself. All right. George is really grown up. He understands when his godfather says something. Come on. Stand up. Willow. You too. Perplexed, Willow and I stood. Shake hands and hug. From today on you two are the closest allies. You must be united against the outside world. If you run into trouble, communicate and try to solve it yourselves first. Only if you can't should you call home. Understand? This is also a chance to strengthen your independence. Now, shake hands, then hug. When Mr. Lu saw we still didn't move, he added, that was just childhood play, memories to laugh about when you're older. Don't cling to it or keep thinking about revenge. After all, siblings fight sometimes, right? Now shake hands. Seeing Mr. Lu was about to come over, I reached out and gripped Willow's hand hard. When we hugged, Willow bit down and pinched the flesh on my lower back so hard I cried. Holy shit, full force. Mr. Lu's mouth twitched and he was about to stop it with Willow, but Mrs. Lu quickly pulled him back down and sat him down. Willow, the best revenge on a man is to marry him, have his children, take control of his finances, and limit his freedom, Mrs. Lu suddenly declared. The room fell silent and everyone looked at me. Godmother, this approach isn't wise. Most women change over time, especially after having children. The initial attitude often shifts. Most women are predisposed to contribute to the family. This tactic could backfire. I just thought of 3 other simple and effective methods you can consider. 1. My ass. Mrs. Lu snapped, annoyed. George, don't you get the point of what I'm saying? I did get it, I said, looking confused at Mrs. Lu. You were all asking me for the simplest and most effective way to take revenge on a man, right? Mrs. Lu blinked, clearly thrown off, then gave an awkward smile and waved her hand. All right. Let's just eat. I saw that joke on TikTok, thought it was funny and kind of fitting, so I said it to lighten the mood. Sis, my mom called softly, pointing at her own head and whispering, they'll figure it out eventually. Those two grew up together, childhood sweethearts. Who knows, maybe someday they'll really become something. Impossible. Willow and I said at the same time. She glared at me. Mom, seriously, you're too old for jokes like that. Haven't you heard of the Westermarck effect? When 2 kids grow up together from an early age, they usually don't develop romantic attraction as adults. It's because, get lost, you little brat, eat, or get out. Damn it. My dad slammed the table and shouted at me, muttering as he sat back down. How the hell did I end up with a kid like this? Then he turned to Mr. Lu and asked, so, is he smart or not smart? Mr. Lu rubbed his nose, smiled, and said, George isn't like ordinary kids. The things he thinks about are no less complex than what I think about, maybe even more so. His brain automatically filters out irrelevant details and focuses on the core of the problem. Once he enters society and his studies relax, he'll change naturally. Don't worry. I opened my mouth to say something, but before I could, Mr. Lu clapped his hands and cut me off. All right, enough talk. Eat. Oh, and tomorrow you 2 can go to school on your own. You're old enough now. Being escorted by parents would just look childish. Just like that, he ended the conversation. Then, as if remembering something, he added, and one more thing, no dating. Yes, no dating. If I find out, I'll break his legs. My dad quickly agreed. I couldn't help laughing bitterly. Why were they all looking at me when they said that? With a monthly allowance of only 1,500 yuan, how the hell was I supposed to date anyone anyway? If they wanted to warn someone, they should have been talking to Willow. The next morning, both families took us to the airport early. Willow, you know how George is. Ever since middle school, especially in high school, his emotional intelligence has been dropping year by year. Be patient with him. Don't bully him too much. You 2 need to stick together out there and watch each other's backs. Mrs. Lu told Willow. She bullies me. I couldn't stand it. Before Willow could reply, I said, Godmother, if my emotional intelligence were that low, could I have written an essay that only lost 2 points on the college entrance exam? My dad smacked me on the head and pointed toward security. Move. Willow laughed so hard she nearly fell over. After I said my gloomy goodbyes to my parents, Willow and I passed security and went to the departure lounge. The lounge wasn't crowded, only about 10 people or so. I checked the time and, feeling stuffed with grievances, turned to Willow beside me and said, let's talk. I felt I'd been wrong too many times these past few days. I had to regain face from her. What's there to talk about? Even without an expert getting involved with your dad, they'd never let you take the car to campus. Willow stood up, arms folded, looking down at me with that superior air. She made me feel small. I stood up too. Fine about the car, I've accepted it. But what about my living allowance? Willow, aren't you going to explain? Explain what? 1,500 is basic living money. If you don't have enough, come ask me for it, she said. Come ask you for money? Do you think you'd hand it over happily? Willow, people don't know you like I do. You've got a vicious streak for revenge. I just did a little better than you, beat you by 99 points. Did you really need to have my allowance frozen? How am I supposed to live in the capital on 1,500 a month? You did well, good for our family. Why would I take revenge? If you think your allowance isn't enough, then be my little brother. I'll guarantee your future will deserve all the best this world offers, Willow said, all haughtiness and smugness, like some merciless capitalist. Yeah, Right. I knew it. When your mom said the best revenge on a man was control over his finances, she meant me. Ha. Ha ha. Control my money and my freedom. On what grounds? Are you pregnant with my kids? Or did you marry me? Willow. Keep dreaming. I sneered. Willow kicked at me. I'd seen it coming, despite my oath not to bully her anymore. Too bad. She didn't deserve my kindness. I grabbed her foot, yanked off her shoe, and kicked it far across the floor. George, are you trying to die? She shouted, lifting her other foot to kick at me. She had a great figure and long legs, even hopping on one foot she looked graceful. I was already tired of looking. Then she threatened, you better go pick up my shoe right now, or I'll call your dad and dock $500 from your allowance. I stared at her, feeling utterly lifeless, and after a long breath, surrendered to impulse. So I obediently went to fetch the shoe. When I returned it, she propped her foot against my chest. I dutifully helped her put the shoe back on. No sooner had I fastened it than she grabbed my jacket and began delivering a series of kicks to my butt. I locked an arm around her neck and tripped her backward with a leg sweep. I'd had enough. Was I supposed to keep being the one to bully her? The fight immediately escalated. She'd trained in dance and was very flexible. Years of tussling with me had made her a battle-tested scrapper. She arched her body, flipped onto me, and pinned me down. One arm locked around my throat while the other hand punched me hard. I wasn't helpless. I'd trained too, and in proper martial arts. I wasn't going to lie there and take it. We rolled on the floor and started fighting. No holds barred. More and more people gathered to watch. The commotion grew loud enough that the police showed up quickly. So annoying. We were taken by several police officers to have tea. In the duty room, I said we were a couple, university freshmen who just had a quarrel, then showed them our admission letters and other documents. We were questioned separately, but I wasn't worried at all that my lie would be exposed. Willow would definitely tell the same story as I did. After all, that's the kind of tacit understanding childhood sweethearts have, but that's all it is. Finally, they called us both in and began lecturing us earnestly. Of course, most of the lecture was aimed at me, because I'm the guy. I was already damn used to it. You see, you're a student from a top 985 university. Fighting with your girlfriend in public doesn't look good at all. According to the public security regulations, you could be detained for 5 days and end up with a record. What will you do when you look for a job later? When couples have issues, you should sit down and talk. You're both elite students. Do you really think fighting is the only way to solve a problem? The officer took a sip of water and continued. Young man, it's really low class to hit a woman, especially your own girlfriend. And your girlfriend's so pretty. Couldn't you just let her win? Look, you even slapped her. Such a beautiful face. And now it's all red. Aren't you afraid she'll leave you? Hearing that, I immediately wiped the corner of my mouth, guiding the officer's gaze to my own face. Hers was red, sure, but mine was swollen. The officer's mouth twitched when he saw me, and finally decided to call both our parents. Afraid we might start fighting again after leaving, I hurriedly held Willow in my arms, gently apologizing to her. She instantly acted like a delicate little bird, leaning against me, and together we staged a dramatic "Love Conquers All" scene right there. The officer shook his head and let us go. On the way out, Willow hooked her arm through mine and whispered in my ear, "Be my lackey. Base pay 2,000 yuan. Bonuses if you do well. Think about it. Ha. Armies can be defeated, but a man's will cannot be taken. I, George, would never drink from a thief's spring," I said with heroic righteousness. Be her lackey? Impossible. I was the top scorer in the national college entrance exam, not some shameless pushover. Well, your Willow sis, am not heartless. If you change your mind, you can contact me anytime. I do hope you can keep up that pride, she said, as if she could see right through me. When we arrived in City A, Willow suggested we first get a hotel room to drop off our luggage, grab lunch, buy whatever we needed in the afternoon, and report to the university tomorrow. I thought it was a great idea, but Willow refused to pay for my room, even though she was staying in a 5-star hotel. Sorry, but with my 1,500 yuan a month, I couldn't afford that. No way. In the end, she said it had been years since we last slept in the same bed, and she wanted to relive the old days. So she asked me to share a room with her. I reluctantly agreed, as long as I didn't have to pay. Anything was fine. What I didn't expect was that when she booked the room, she only got one big bed. I asked her why she booked a single bed. How were the two of us supposed to sleep like that? She said the hotel had no twin rooms left. Bullshit. I didn't even hear her ask the front desk. She just straight up said, a room with one big bed. Forget it. No way I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm not the kind of guy who wrongs himself. Anyway, if I happen to steal her blanket in my sleep, that's on her. After lunch, I trudged behind Willow like a human pack mule for hours, completely exhausted. But seeing her buy 2 of everything, I didn't complain. Honestly, ever since we were kids, we've had the same stuff: clothes, shoes, School supplies, people often thought we were actual siblings. That night, we went strolling through the night market. By the time we got back to the hotel, I was dead tired. I rushed into the bathroom before she could. Not because I was impatient, but because she takes forever, never less than an hour. I was done in under 5 minutes. When I came out, she started going on and on about setting a demarcation line on the bed. Seriously, you're the one who asked me to share the bed, and now you're setting all these weird rules. It made it seem like I was the one lusting after her body or something. I ignored her, turned the air conditioner to its lowest setting, dried my hair, crawled under the blanket, and fell asleep immediately. Half asleep, I heard the sound of a hair dryer, so I pulled the blanket over my head and drifted off again. Then I felt someone yank the blanket away, hit me a few times, and call me useless. In the middle of the night, I felt something heavy on top of me. When I grabbed my phone, it was only 5 a.m. and there was Willow, clinging to me like an octopus. I turned on the light and pushed her off. "What are you doing? Can't you be a little gentle?" Willow mumbled irritably. "You're the one who said not to cross the line. Look where you are now." "I was about to fall off the bed," I said, patting the edge of the mattress in frustration. Willow opened her eyes and stared at me. I actually felt a shiver run down my spine. After a long pause, she took a deep breath and sat up. "George, do you feel wronged? You made the rule, and you broke it yourself. No consistency at all. Don't you think I should feel wronged?" I retorted, righteous and unyielding. After all, I was in the right, and honestly, even if we fought right now, I wasn't scared of her tattling to our parents. She just sighed helplessly, muttered, "Damn it," and lay back down. I turned off the light and lay beside her. Suddenly, Willow rolled over, grabbed my hand, tucked it under her neck, and wrapped herself around me like an octopus again. Her reaction made me think a lot. Maybe I shouldn't keep treating her the same way I did back home, always bickering, always pushing back, because back home, no matter how bad things got, school or family would eventually force us to see each other again, and we'd make up. But here, there's none of that. If we really fell out this time, who knows how long it would take to patch things up. And that would make my life pretty damn miserable. 1,500 yuan a month, in the capital city. Forget chasing girls, just surviving would be hard enough. Of course, there's no way I'd actually be her lackey, that'd be way too humiliating. But freeloading meals, drinks, and fun, that's another story. Our universities aren't even far apart, just one bus stop away for 1 yuan. That means I could save my 1,500. And if I manage to keep her happy, maybe she'll even give me some pocket money. That's way better for my pride than being her servant outright. Yeah, this rich baby, this golden sponsor, I had to keep her in a good mood. Sigh, I've truly become like my father. Who would have thought that the first thing I'd do in college would be figuring out how to please a sugar mommy? Pathetic. Really, this time, I didn't push her off. I just slept peacefully. The next morning, I left my things at the hotel, carried hers, and went with her to register at her university. Willow really was beautiful. I used to think the guys around her only liked her because of her family money, just a bunch of simps helping her go against me. But now, I didn't think that anymore. How did I realize it? Because damn, she's just too popular. Those senior guys, the moment they saw her, looked like excited huskies in heat, eager and over the top. At first, they thought we were a couple. Our matching clothes made them think we were wearing couple outfits. They didn't show it that much in front of me, but once they learned I was her brother, their eyes lit up like searchlights. I handed out cigarettes and got a whole pocketful back. I felt really dejected, like the world had gone blind. What's so great about Willow anyway? Sure, she's got a nice figure, good looks, that capitalist family background, and decent grades, but beyond that, she's a total disaster, always tattling, loves violence, and has a dark, sneaky side, not girly at all. The guys around grabbed all her luggage from me before I knew it. Soon I was pushed out of the crowd completely. When we reached the dorm building, I didn't go upstairs. She didn't need me anymore. Without saying goodbye, I went back to the hotel, grabbed my own stuff, and headed to my university. I felt like a stray dog nobody cared about. Along the way, I imagined that once I got there, I'd get the same attention Willow did. After all, I wasn't bad looking, and I was the top scorer in the national college entrance exam. Unfortunately, reality had other plans. Turns out, the girls at Peking University were way too conservative, and maybe it was my fault too, for not bringing my aventator with me. No, actually, it was all Willow's fault and Diego's. Willow texted me, complaining that I left without saying goodbye, but really, what difference would it have made? Even if I'd said it twice or 3 times, I'd still have left. She's so popular, how could she possibly have time to care about me? I replied half-heartedly and stopped chatting with her. Who knows how many guys were already surrounding her by then? No need for me to disturb her. After the semester began, We started 2 weeks of military training. It was tough, sure, but I was in decent shape, so it didn't bother me much. In fact, I kind of liked it, the discipline, the grind, the test of willpower. There's an old saying, those who achieve great things in ancient times were not only talented, but also possessed an unshakable will. It means that the door to success has always been open only to the strong-willed. Marching in formation, shouting commands, singing military songs, I felt like I was one of those people with true perseverance. Then Willow started messaging me again, whining about how tired and miserable she was. It totally disrupted my focus, so I replied like a wise old sage. Military training is supposed to be hard and boring. It's a life experience, a way to conquer yourself and build your willpower. As the ancients said, when heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on someone, it must first distress his heart and exhaust his body. And also, a sharp sword is forged through grinding. The fragrance of plum blossoms comes from the bitter cold. Willow, the tougher it gets, the more you must stand tall and unyielding. How can you be defeated by something as small as military training? Remember, people grow through constant challenge, just like a sapling that must endure wind and rain before it becomes a towering tree. I sent her more than 10 messages in a row. After a long while, she replied with just one line. Jealous, are you? Just wait, you're dead. Women and petty people are the hardest to deal with. I muttered to myself, treat them too kindly, and they get arrogant. Keep your distance, and they resent you. I turned off my phone and ignored her. Jealous of her? What a joke. When training ended, my dad called and told me to check on Willow. Apparently, she was sick. Didn't her school have a clinic? Why did I have to go? Even though I was annoyed, I went anyway. Not because I was worried about her, of course, but because it was a holiday, and I was broke. Luckily, I'd gotten a student transit card through my class. Bus rides were 80% off, just 0.2 yuan one way, and 0.4 on the subway. Round trip under 0.5 yuan, why not go? Early the next morning, I skipped breakfast and splurged on the subway. It was only 3 stops, but who cared about an extra 0.2 yuan? Following my memory, I arrived at her dorm building. There were a bunch of guys downstairs holding breakfast, standing, squatting, hanging out in small groups, all waiting for someone. I'd never seen a scene like this at Peking University. It was tragic, honestly. Was chasing girls really supposed to be this humiliating? As I walked past those guys, I secretly checked out what they were holding. TSK. Each of those breakfast sets had to cost at least 10 yuan, no, 20, minimum. How much allowance do these guys even get each month? And it's still military training season, aren't they hungry or thirsty themselves? Me, out of my 1,500 a month, I'd already topped up my bus card and my meal card. Last night, I spent the last of my cash on a pack of instant noodles and a single sausage. Now I didn't even have a single dime left. Damn it, I didn't even have the qualifications to bring a girl breakfast. All thanks to Willow and Diego. I called Willow, and she came down pretty quickly. The moment she appeared at the stairwell, every single guy moved. They swarmed toward her like a wave. Holy crap, all of them were here for Willow. Was she really that pretty? Okay, fine, her long legs were amazing. I'd give her that. And not just her legs, her arms were long too. Back in the day, when people called me Little Black Chicken, I used to call her Gibbon. Later, both our families teamed up to stop me from doing that again. Anyway, these guys made me realize something. My sense of beauty must be unique, visionary even. Like Picasso, the kind of beauty I appreciate is clearly of a higher form. Otherwise, how could I have spent so many years next to such a goddess and never noticed she was beautiful? It made no sense. Willow squeezed out of the crowd, linked her arm through mine, and said to the guys sweetly, "Thanks for your kindness, everyone. I told you I already have a boyfriend, but you didn't believe me. So, I called him over. This is my boyfriend, George. We're from the same hometown and took the entrance exam together, but he's at Peking University next door." Instantly, I felt dozens of gazes slice toward me, cold, jealous, hateful, burning, but I didn't flinch. I didn't even feel nervous. Instead, I felt my heart surge with a strange, powerful energy, like being reborn. Warm sunlight seemed to pour into me, wrapping me in pure comfort. It felt like a spring breeze brushing across my face. In one word, it was feel good, pure bliss. All the gloom from the past few weeks vanished in an instant. My mood skyrocketed. "Come on, let's get breakfast," Willow said, then turned me around and jumped onto my back. I quickly grabbed hold of her long legs to keep her steady. Whoa! Gasps erupted all around us, from both guys and girls. I was so moved I could cry. So this was what it felt like to be the center of attention. At that moment, it felt like I was carrying my Lamborghini Aventador on my back. My Aventador. With each cheerful giddy up from Willow, my pace picked up to a steady 70 miles an hour. Speed 70 miles. My heart feels free and wild. Hoping the ends the Aegean Sea. Running full throttle to my dream beyond. I sang at the top of my lungs while Willow laughed uncontrollably on my back. Everyone who passed by stopped to look at us. After what felt like forever, I finally couldn't run anymore. I set Willow down and collapsed on the ground. Willow, your dorm is way too far from the cafeteria, I panted. It's not that far. She blinked those big, sparkly eyes of hers, pure and innocent, as she looked at me like I was some big idiot. Not that far. I just ran with you on my back for more than 20 minutes. Wait, hold up. I froze mid-sentence. Willow, you tricked me. It's your first time visiting my university. I just wanted to show you the scenery, she said in a mock-sweet voice, trying to hide a smirk. Damn it, I sighed. I still needed her to lend me money, so I decided not to argue. I spread myself out on the ground in a big star shape, but the more I thought about it, the more I felt unwilling. Every time I gave in, and every time it just made things worse. So I said, I covered for you in front of all those guys. Instead of thanking me, you, old witch, had to mess with me. Who the hell builds a cafeteria this far away? Huh? George, you wanna die? Did you just call me an old witch? Willow snapped, then kicked the sole of my shoe. Hey, Willow, I'm warning you, if you wanna fight, fine, but at least let me catch my breath first. If you start swinging while I'm still tired, it just proves you're shameless, sneaky, and downright despicable, I shouted back, struggling to stand and leaning on my knees. You're the shameless one, you're despicable, you're filthy, Willow yelled right back. How am I shameless, despicable, or filthy? How are you not shameless, despicable, and filthy? Even if I were all that, I'd still never be as shameless, despicable, and filthy as you. Willow's temper flared. She threw a flying kick at me. I wasn't about to back down, so I kicked back. Soon we were trading kicks like a pair of martial artists in a bad comedy sketch. People started gathering around, staring at us in disbelief. Just minutes ago, we'd been the picture of a romantic campus couple, a living love story in motion, and now we were brawling like gladiators by the artificial lake, the lovers' hotspot. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw people filming and gossiping. Instantly, we both froze. Without a word, we slung our arms over each other's shoulders like best buddies and walked off casually toward the cafeteria. We ate breakfast as fast as humanly possible, then bolted out of the campus hand in hand. Those stairs, I can still feel them stabbing into my back. Some people even recognized me as the brother who dropped Willow off on move-in day, and apparently, the rumor of our fight by the lake was already making the rounds. Great, just great. Now everyone was questioning whether our relationship was actually real, and the people asking for my WeChat, calling me handsome. Yeah, they were all guys. Damn it. Once we got outside the gates, Willow asked, so, where are we going to play? I immediately sensed my chance and sighed heavily. Not really in the mood. I think I'll head back and play basketball. Let's go shopping. I wanna play basketball. Then let's walk around Hohai. No thanks. I'm heading back to play basketball. You really have to play basketball? What's the point of going out? Too many people. Everything's overpriced, and you have to spend money everywhere. You're broke, aren't you? I'll give you 1,000 yuan. Spend the day with me. Deal. Princess Willow, this way, please. I immediately wheeled her around and guided her toward the bus stop. You did that on purpose, didn't you? She said, narrowing her eyes suspiciously. On purpose? What do you mean, on purpose? I literally have zero cash. If I don't go back to play basketball, where else can I go? I raised my voice slightly on purpose at the words zero cash, just to make sure she heard it loud and clear. Willow shot me a look full of disdain. What? I'm broke, so what? Is that a crime now? But she didn't press it. Instead, she dragged me out for a full day of wild fun, all on her royal tab. Of course, honestly, my family's situation could easily support this kind of spending too, but somehow, that day ended with us staying in another 5-star hotel. Damn it, this was all Willow's fault. George, I even bought matching couple pajamas, and I posted on WeChat. They should believe we're really dating now. Right, Willow said, lying on her stomach editing photos on her phone. Why do you even care that much? Just keep saying you've got a boyfriend. End of story, I said, leaning against the headboard, focused on my game. Then, why don't we just really date? Jesus, you're so damn stupid. You already announced it on WeChat and admitted it in front of everyone. If they didn't believe you before, even if we really were dating, they still wouldn't believe it. She went quiet for a long moment. When I looked up, she was staring at me. What are you looking at? Whatever you want to say, just say it. I'll play along. Okay, what more do you want? But our parents saw my WeChat post, she said, her voice rising. Let me see what you even posted. I exited my game and opened her WeChat feed. You're an idiot. You know that. You posted a hotel room photo. It looks more authentic that way. Well, yeah. I guess it does, I said, shrugging, then went right back to my game. But now they think we shared a room, she protested. If they want to misunderstand, that's their problem, not ours. My conscience is clear. Heaven and earth can testify. Willow's expression hardened instantly. Damn you, George. How did I end up with such a moron like you? You're the moron, I shot back, lowering my phone, ready to defend myself in case she lashed out. Idiot, she muttered, glaring before turning back to her photo editing. Crisis averted, I resumed gaming. Then suddenly she asked, "Hey, you've been in school this long. Hasn't any girl fallen for you yet?" Nope, I didn't even look up. No one's ever hit on you. Well, there was one. She was actually pretty cute. What did she say? She asked if I had a girlfriend. Damn, I was so excited for a second, I said, putting my phone down and getting animated. A girl actually asked if I was single. I thought, this is it. My moment has come. And then I wanted to be sure. So I asked if she had a boyfriend. She said no. That's when I knew for sure it was on. You know what I mean? It's a win-win. She's even making the first move. I'd save a ton of money dating her. So why didn't anything happen? I asked her what kind of guy she liked. She said she liked guys like me. Damn it. I don't have a brother or a twin. Where was I supposed to find another me for her? But I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So I just told her I'd keep an eye out if I met one. Then walked away. Willow just stared at me, speechless. What? Why do you keep staring at me like that? I frowned. That was the second time she'd given me that weird, intense look. You're sure you're not joking? She asked cautiously. What would I joke about? The girl's emotional intelligence was way too low. I wasn't about to deal with that nonsense. I shook my head and went back to my game. Willow suddenly burst out laughing, loud, uncontrollable laughter. Ha ha ha. Holy crap, you idiot. You're seriously calling her the one with low emotional intelligence? Oh my god. I can't. I'm gonna die laughing. I'm gonna die laughing. I turned my back to her and kept playing my game. Psycho. George, if you hadn't met me, your whole Wong family line would have died out. I swear. I'd even take your last name. I turned my head. Rule number 1, you don't drag parents or ancestors into insults. And no cursing people either. That's basic decency. Fine. Rules. Just turn back around and keep playing your dumb game. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I can feel my IQ dropping already. I scored 99 points higher than you on the national exam. Top scorer in the whole country. Peking University practically begged me to enroll. So tell me again, whose IQ is low? Okay, it's me. You win. Wong the great scholar. You're amazing. I bow to your genius. Please, go on and play your stupid game. It's not a stupid game. I wrote this game myself. You actually need brains to play it. Willow let out a long, dramatic sigh. I really don't know what kind of life I'll have if I end up stuck with an idiot like you. Exactly like this, I replied casually, then suddenly remembered she still hadn't paid me the 1,000 yuan she promised. Hey, by the way, you still owe me that 1,000. You go shower first. I'll transfer it when you're done. At the mention of money, I got up instantly and headed for the bathroom. As I closed the door, I vaguely heard her murmur, this isn't so bad. Guess you lucked out, George. I showered fast, 3 minutes flat. The thought of collecting money really does boost efficiency. When I came out, she was holding my phone. Where's my money? I stretched my hand out. Who even carries cash these days? I transferred it, she said, rolling her eyes. I snatched the phone, checked it, and yep, the money was there. Satisfied, I flopped back onto the bed and resumed my game. You know, George, Willow said softly, you're actually pretty popular with the girls at your school. Popular? My ass. I've seen a bunch of them chatting with you online. Yeah, just meaningless small talk. I don't even bother replying most of the time. Heh, you're the kind of guy who weirdly makes people feel secure, Willow said with a teasing tone. But, my mom's right. Someone who makes people feel secure doesn't mean others will stay calm. Especially a clueless fool like you, coming here all proud with some half-baked plan to flirt with rich girls. Guys like you are easy to read, easy to handle, and once you get hooked, you're done for. My mom told me to make a move early, but what kind of move was she even talking about? She never explained clearly. She turned onto her back, staring up at the ceiling, mumbling as if to herself. I glanced at her, then went right back to gaming. Seems like my godmother really misunderstood me. I'd have to clear that up during break. George, Willow suddenly said, her tone shifting into something playful. I've decided, I'm throwing caution to the wind tonight. You really lucked out, you stupid marmot. She lay on her side, resting her head on her hand, and gave me a slow wink. I just looked at her blankly, like she was the one who'd lost her mind. Damn it, George, I literally just said something like that, and you're still looking at me like that. Do you not get what I'm saying at all? What is your mom's deal? Anyway, I said calmly, does she really think we're together? Or is she trying to make us actually get together? That seemed to catch her off guard. She perked right up. Oh, so the lights are finally on up there. Yeah, but that's not possible, I said matter-of-factly. If we really got together, wouldn't that be incest? Get lost, you fuck idiot, Willow shouted, kicking me so hard I nearly fell off the bed. Willow, I'm warning you, don't start anything, I yelled, gripping the bed frame, glaring at her with full alert. Willow stood up on the bed while I hurried to my feet and planted myself on the floor, ready to dodge her attack and strike back at any moment. But nothing like that happened. She tugged at her clothes, looked down at me from above, and said, "All right, Marmot, I'm going to shower. Hey, do you want to see me in black stockings, white stockings, or nude ones?" "Ha, you brought that many stockings. How did I miss them?" I asked. "George, are you an idiot? Is now the time to worry about that?" She shot back. "But I really didn't see you bring that many stockings," I insisted. "Jesus, what the hell is wrong with me? Asking you that," Willow muttered, then jumped off the bed, glared at me, and went into the bathroom. Weird, she got mad for no reason. I honestly hadn't seen her bring stockings. Besides, haven't I seen what she wears on her legs before? Was it necessary to single that out? While she was showering, I called my mom. I suspected my godmother was trying to play matchmaker with Willow, and I had to tell my mom so she could talk to my godmother. This had to be sorted out, couldn't just let things run wild like this. "Mom, don't hang up, I have something important to say." Luckily she didn't hang up like before, so I told her about what happened today, though I left out the part about the fight. I laid out a few reasons why Willow and I shouldn't be together. First, we grew up together and there's no mutual attraction. After all these years, I still hadn't realized Willow was as pretty as other people say. That's proof enough. Forcing a match would backfire and be bad for married life. Second, we're students. Students should focus on studying. Otherwise it's irresponsible. Third, the two families are too familiar. Suddenly becoming in-laws carries risks. Then I started to explain more, but my dad's voice cut in from the other end. "If you keep yammering on like that, yammer. Yammer, do you believe I'll fly over there and beat you to death right now? You idiot." "Dad, don't call me Dad." Laughter erupted on the other end, pretty hearty. "Where's Willow?" my dad asked, trying to choke out the words. "She went to shower." "How's she acting? Did she say anything?" "She's mad." "You got her mad again?" "No, she asked whether I wanted to see her in black stockings, white stockings, or nude ones, but I..." Stop, that kind of thing is private. Saying it out loud is embarrassing, especially with relatives or elders listening. "Why would you tell your father that?" My dad hurriedly cut me off, and I could vaguely hear my mom explaining it as kids messing around. Probably my godfather and godmother were there too. Those earlier laughs sounded like them. "Weren't you the one who asked?" someone said on the call. There was a long pause. Long enough that I thought the line had dropped. Then the call ended for real. Sigh, it's so hard to talk to the elders. There's such a generational gap between us. Willow finished her shower, blow-dried her hair, crawled back under the covers, and snuggled into my arms. My first reaction was that she must be homesick. After that phone call earlier, I suddenly felt hollow inside. I hadn't contacted my family once in the half-month since I arrived. Hearing my parents' voices today made me miss them all of a sudden. If I, a big strapping guy, felt like that, imagine Willow. I hugged her tight. "Missing home? Ah, it's okay. Hold on to me if you need to cry. Cry. Holy crap. Willow, what the hell, are you a dog?" I blurted, pushing her away and shouting. She bit my chest hard. It hurt like hell. "George, are you fucking stupid or pretending to be? I'm sleeping in your arms and you still don't get it. Missing home? I call your parents and my parents every day. I FaceTime them. What home are you talking about?" Willow snapped angrily. "Why do my parents never answer my calls but they take yours? Every time I call it's hung up or they say they're busy. A few times they answered and I thought they'd blocked me." I complained, genuinely pissed. A pillow smacked my head, then a sudden force on my waist. I was kicked off the bed. Phones. Who said this was about phone calls? From today on, I'm going to study properly at school. I'll send your allowance on time. Don't call me anymore. I won't call you. Just be a lifelong single dog. I'm done with you. She pulled the covers over and turned to sleep on the other side. I thought, was it necessary to blow up like that? If she doesn't miss home, fine. I don't blame her. But why do my parents always ignore my calls? And why did they pick up so fast today? When something is off, there's usually a reason. It was late. Anyway, sleep first. Think later. That night we slept on opposite sides of the bed, not bothering each other. After that, we didn't contact each other for nearly a month. I called her and she didn't pick up. She told me not to call. That was just anger talk. I'm not that kind of guy. Of course I called, but when she didn't answer, I worried I'd show up at her school and she wouldn't be there, a wasted trip. My time isn't that abundant. I'd been with the professors a lot lately because one had taken an interest in me, so I hadn't gone to look for her. Then one night, around 9, I unexpectedly got a call from her. "George, come save me, someone's harassing me at the Rose Bar." I ran like crazy. She wasn't far, at most 2 kilometers. I sprinted from my dorm and got there in under 5 minutes. I arrived just in time to see Willow and 3 other girls bolting out of the bar. A dozen guys trailing behind, calling after them or pretending to chase, trying to scare them. Adrenaline shot through me. I launched a flying kick at the guy at the very front. A brawl broke out. I'd trained, but I couldn't match their numbers. Worse, some of them went back into the bar and came out with iron pipes. Now it was serious. The other side had weapons. Willow saw I couldn't hold them off and took a steel pipe from me. She fell down from the blow. Holy shit. I wanted to kill someone. I grabbed the pipe with everything I had and turned into Woozy Long, swinging it until at least one of them was badly wounded and several more were knocked out. When the police arrived, I tried to shoulder Willow and run for the hospital, but the cops stopped me. I handed over my student ID, transit card, phone, everything I had on me. The hospital wasn't far, less than a kilometer away. At the hospital, after Willow was put on a stretcher, the world suddenly went dark for me. My vision blurred, my limbs went weak, and I just collapsed to the floor with a thud. Only then did the doctors realize it was I who was hurt. After the police verified my identity, I never expected the whole thing would blow up publicly. There were police stationed outside my ward around the clock. School leaders, government officials, and student representatives came by in shifts to visit. TV crews kept coming in waves, who knows how many. After all, I was the national Gaokao top scorer. That carries serious weight. On top of that, I'd only been enrolled for a few days when I was selected to join a team where nearly half the members were mentors and professors. You can imagine how much the university cared. Videos of me sprinting 100 meters with Willow on my back, Willow taking a steel pipe for me bleeding and running desperately while carrying her, and then collapsing at the hospital. All of it went viral. Netizens cried seeing it. The praise poured in. College students everywhere treated us like saints of undying love. The official outcome comforted me too. Peking University's top administrators publicly intervened. I received no punishment for fighting back. Instead, I was awarded several tens of thousands in compensation. And those attackers, the lightest sentence was 6 months detention. When Willow woke up, she cried her eyes out at my bedside. After we were discharged, Willow started coming to my campus a lot. Our relationship grew even closer. One night we strolled through Yanyuan, Peking University's most well-preserved classical garden, a former imperial grant with a heavy historical atmosphere. We both liked coming there. She linked her arm through mine and whispered, "The moonlight is so beautiful tonight." I frowned. The sky looked clouded. I could see no moon. Was this some kind of riddle? What riddle? I searched my memory but found no answer. Willow wouldn't say something like that for no reason. I slipped my hand out of hers and called my project partner to tell him what had happened. Soon the rest of our team arrived, more than 10 people. Willow was stunned. She recognized most of them. Among them was a full professor from Peking University, several mentors, and even 2 master's supervisors. She could never have summoned a lineup like this at Renda, but with one phone call from me, everyone came. No wonder she was dumbfounded. "George," I checked, "the forecast for the past 2 days has been cloudy," Martin said. "Right. I'll add that for tonight and tomorrow across City A and neighboring areas. The moon won't be visible," Helen added. "This line probably isn't about the weather." Professor Jean asked, "George, can you describe exactly where and in what direction she said that?" So I told them the position and bearing from which Willow had spoken those words. Professor Jean immediately raised a hand to stop everyone. "Willow, don't give away the answer. Trust us, I'll solve this riddle." Willow watched us photograph the scene, measure bearings, record wind speed, and prepare to go to the lab. Then she couldn't hold back. She shouted, "The moonlight is so beautiful tonight," is an internet meme. It comes from the famous Japanese writer Natsume Soseki's translated line. If someone says, "The moonlight is so beautiful tonight," to you, it means they like you. If you feel the same, you can reply, "The wind is so gentle," to indicate you like them back. After she said it, she kept bowing and apologizing. "Sorry, I just wanted to play romantic with George." "Sorry. Really? I'm sorry." Everyone stood there stunned. "Ah, it has nothing to do with math or physics," someone said. "Willow, are you a humanities student?" the mentor asked. Willow nervously nodded, then shook her head. "I study finance." "Finance is good. Renda's finance program is very strong and produces lots of talent. It opens many career paths." "It's late. Let's head back," Professor Jean said. After everyone dispersed, Willow gave me one last kick and ran off without looking back. Blame me. I thought she was just trying to lighten the mood with a little astronomy riddle. No wonder I had no clue. Time flew. I was already a sophomore. Looking back over that year, I realized I'd done an excellent job being Willow's shield. People shipped us endlessly. Not only students from her school and mine, but people back home who knew us also believed it. And that stupid game Willow had mocked went viral in the second semester of freshman year. Within 10 days of launch I'd made 50 million yuan. Of course, the early traction was helped by the videos of me saving Willow. Good luck in disguise. As they say, misfortune and blessing come from oneself. With my godfather's maneuvering, I set up a company called Willow Game Company. Willow was the legal representative and the CEO in name, but I was the actual controlling shareholder. Willow said that since the outside world already thought we were a couple, if the legal representative wasn't her, people would question it. Also, I wasn't good at managing a company. Having her run it made everything look more legitimate. She worried about another harassment incident happening again, and worried I wouldn't have the energy to run things. It made sense. So the company name and the legal paperwork were in her name. Before the heat died down, I released several more small games I'd written. They also blew up. The company's valuation surpassed 20 billion yuan. Dad said my net worth had become several times that of my godfather. It was utterly unexpected. I really just wrote a game because the market's casual games were idiotic and boring. I wanted something fun. Didn't expect it to go viral. In the hotel, Willow played my game and exclaimed, "Damn, my dad was right. The world of geniuses like you is something we mere mortals will never understand. George, you're insane, absolutely insane. Every move you make is a royal flush." Then she looked up and pouted. "Please forgive me for always treating you like a dumb marmot." "Okay, Anne, fine. This isn't a stupid game." I rolled my eyes. Willow's emotional intelligence really wasn't high. Then her face changed instantly. She glared at me. "Stop bad-mouthing me in your head. You hear me?" Holy crap. I immediately looked down at my phone, pretending to focus. "Did you really just make this game out of boredom?" She asked again. "You've seen it yourself," I replied. "Every time we stay at a hotel, I play around with the game a bit. If something feels off, I tweak the code." We often rented rooms at this 5-star hotel on weekends, not because of romance, but to make others believe we were a real couple. "You coded it on your phone?" "Not entirely, but mostly. It's simple stuff. Want me to teach you?" No thanks. "When did you even learn to make games?" "After the college entrance exams. That time I was waiting for my aventator. I was bored, so I found an online tutorial and just started experimenting." "You're insane," she said, half admiring, half annoyed. "No wonder whenever you're with me, you're glued to your phone. I thought you were just addicted to games, didn't realize you were making one." "George, I'll never call you a marmot again." Suddenly Willow frowned, pressing her temples. "Wait, no, something's off." She looked at me. "Damn it, George, do you find it boring to be with me?" "No, of course not. It's just I have games to play, you know." "Ugh, stupid marmot and your stupid game," she snapped, turned off the app, and dove under the blanket. She didn't fight with me anymore these days. At most, when she was really angry, she'd kick me twice. Honestly, I admired her. Ever since she entered college, she'd been dazzling everywhere she went. Sigh, same species, different fate. Why wasn't I as charming or likable as her? I looked at my reflection in the mirror, sinking into self-doubt. By now, I was one of the most famous people on campus, student council president, national student union chairman, impressive titles. But still, not a single girl had confessed to me, not one love letter. Sure, on paper I had a girlfriend, but if anyone truly liked me, wouldn't they still take a chance? It's not like I'm married. "George, what are you planning to do in the future?" Willow suddenly poked her head out from under the blanket. "I want to use these university years to make something big happen," I said seriously after thinking for a while. "Ugh, get lost." She pulled the blanket back over her head. This woman, always mad for no reason. But I was serious. I really wanted to achieve something. This university had the best labs in the country. Once I left, I'd never get this chance again. And I could tell, Willow had feelings for me. She hid it well, but I could see it. I didn't call her out. Her emotional intelligence was low, and saying it would only embarrass her. Still, I never expected that someone as radiant as her could like someone as ordinary as me. My family supported us too, all of them. So I figured, if I didn't accomplish something, I really wouldn't be worthy of her. After all, she was the bright moon, and I, just a speck of dust beneath its light. At the end of the first semester of my 4th year, after a full year of isolated research, we finally managed to develop the new type of chip that was the centerpiece of our project. This project had chosen me at the beginning of my freshman year. It was extremely high level, and not just anyone, not even many Gaokao champions, could get in. Eventually, I even became one of the project leaders. The chip could process ultra-fast data and wireless communication signals simultaneously, with extremely low power consumption and bandwidth. In the military field, it represented a major breakthrough in radio signal decoding, radar target tracking, and high-speed digital data processing. We also developed another complementary chip for high-speed, high-precision, wide dynamic range visual information acquisition, which marked a new leap for computer vision and artificial intelligence. Combined, these two chips advanced our military systems by at least a generation, while in the civil sphere they brought more efficient and accessible services. My team and I became famous both at home and abroad. And me, to top it all off, before even graduating, I was already receiving invitations to visit well-known tech companies, both national and international. Something truly outstanding. The day I was finally allowed to leave isolation, Willow arrived early at the university to wait for me. After more than a year without seeing her, my heart skipped a beat when we met again. She had changed so much, I couldn't quite put it into words. But she now seemed like a fully grown woman. Her face was so delicate that it left me stunned. It was at that moment I truly realized how beautiful Willow was. For more than a year, I had been locked away. Not only had I not seen her, I hadn't even been able to see my own parents. All external communication was through a landline. Our project was top secret. And during the critical phase we didn't leave the lab to avoid leaks. Armed guards were stationed 24/7. Even the university president needed signed authorization to enter. She looked at me in astonishment. I regained my composure and said, "It's been a long time." Suddenly, she started crying for no apparent reason. The scene made me feel as if I had just been released from prison. She threw herself into my arms and hugged me. I felt a bit disoriented. We had hugged many times before, but this time something inside me stirred. She cried until her throat went raw, and in a slip as she hugged me, she lost her balance and fell to the ground. When she looked up, her expression turned pitiful. Then, lowering her gaze, her face twisted with anger. "Damn it, George. Are your hands in your pockets?" she scolded, wiping away her tears. "Ah." I hurriedly pulled my hand out. "And why'd you take it out? Aren't you cold?" she teased sarcastically. "A little," I said, putting my hand back in my pocket. "What are you doing, you silly marmot?" Putting it back again. The look in her eyes told me she was ready to kill me. I immediately pulled my hand out again. "Don't you see I'm still on the ground?" I bent down to help her up. "If you wanted me to help you, just say so." Going around in circles like that only leaves everyone confused. After more than a year, at first I thought she might have changed, but in the end she hadn't. Having little emotional intelligence is one thing, but on top of that she never says what she really means. Who has the patience to keep guessing all the time? How do they put it on the internet? She goes crazy. I helped her to her feet and the moment I touched her she kicked me and jabbed a finger at me. "You're criticizing me again on the inside, aren't you? God damn it, where am I failing?" Then she grabbed my collar and looked me over. "How long has it been since you showered?" "Not long. Not long. You smell from the inside out. And the collar of your jacket is filthy." "Not long. Your hair's a mess. You don't even shave." "How is that not long? Are the others like this too?" "More or less. We didn't go out. The lab's air conditioning runs 24/7. I don't feel like we sweat much, so I don't bother fixing myself up." "My God," Willow said, grabbing me and pulling me along. In the parking lot I saw my aventator. I ran like a maniac, wrapped my arms around it and started crying right there. I hadn't seen it for at least 2 years. Besides, my university life was different from everyone else's. My winter and summer breaks lasted only a few days. Before the isolation I'd go home a few times a year, but at least I saw it now and then. With that lockdown, it had been at least 2 years since I'd seen it. Willow, furious, kept kicking and came at me screaming, delivering massive kicks. I flung myself onto the Aventador's hood and kissed it over and over. Not caring that she was hitting me, I needed to let out all that longing. She called the hotel and ordered them to fill the bathtub. Then she went to the supermarket and bought a bunch of things, scrubbing gloves, a hair clipper, and so on. Fuck, this aggressive, emotionally inept woman wanted to cut my hair. At the hotel she dragged me into the bathroom. Under her kicks and threats I ended up with barely any underwear left on. It turned out she wanted to wash me, and while she was at it, give me a haircut. And since we were at it, other things followed. In short, we ended up together. Try something and want more. We made love all night. But I still had energy left. "Why do you have those kinds of videos on your phone?" I asked, propped up on the bed, curious. Willow buried her head in the blanket. I pulled the sheet aside to keep asking. I was honestly dying to know how a girl could have those kinds of videos. Willow flew into a rage. "Are you sick? Do you seriously ask that? Don't you know why I have them? If you don't say it, how am I supposed to know? I swear I'll kill you," she yelled. "If you don't want to tell me, forget it." "Wow, you seem so cold, and yet you're a sexual maniac." "Fuck, okay, my mother gave them to me. All right. She thought they'd be good for us," Willow said, hiding under the blanket again. "Ah, I see. Actually it wasn't necessary. Even if I haven't practiced, I understand the theory," I said with interest. It's not that I'd had much experience, But in the lab almost everyone was married. There were even a few couples working together. That year plus of confinement was exhausting and monotonous, so they often cracked dirty jokes to lighten the mood. So in theory, yeah, I know what it's about. Hey, Willow, Willow. I suddenly wanted to know what she was feeling, so I lifted her blanket and called her name. What is it? Willow poked her head out and answered irritably. What does it feel like for you? It just hurt a bit the first time. The next 2 times, not much at all. Willow said after thinking for a moment. How could it not feel like anything? That's impossible. Really nothing. The 3 times together didn't even add up to 5 minutes. What was I supposed to feel? Hearing that, I went completely speechless. If I'd known you'd be this quick every time, I wouldn't have bothered washing up beforehand. Such a waste of effort. Willow continued to complain. Her words were like knives stabbing straight into my heart. Sigh. I thought it'd be something incredible. The woman in that video must be acting. I swear I didn't feel a thing. Willow said earnestly. Willow, are you deliberately trying to humiliate me? I asked, getting a bit angry. Willow suddenly realized her words had been hurtful. She quickly wrapped her arms around my neck and said soothingly, No, I actually did feel something. Next time I'll try to act like the woman in the video. Okay. Damn it. And you say you're not deliberately humiliating me? I ducked out of her embrace. Hey, aren't you being unreasonable? This was my first time too. I've got no experience. I don't even know what kind of words are right to say, or how I'm supposed to act. Anyway, I promise you, next time, whether I feel something or not, I'll make sure to act just like that woman in the video. Happy now? I don't want that. I want you to express your real, heartfelt feelings, but I didn't feel anything. Damn it. Willow, are you trying to drive me insane? George, I honestly don't get you. I didn't feel anything, and you're still asking me to express my heartfelt feelings. But if I didn't feel anything, how am I supposed to express it? I said I'd copy the woman from the video, but you won't let me. So what do you want me to do? I buried my head in the pillow, wanting to cry but having no tears left. And she was still lying on my back, hugging me and saying things that trampled a man's pride into the ground, then acted like I was being dramatic about it. My family always said I lacked emotional intelligence, but honestly, the one with the least emotional intelligence is Willow. When it was time to check out of the hotel, the 4 parents came to pick us up. The moment they entered, all 4 parents looked straight at Willow. Her face instantly flushed red to the base of her neck, but she still gave a subtle nod. Damn, someone as tough as her could actually get shy. Then they finally turned their eyes to me, full of concern and praise, and the whole scene turned into quite a lively affair. After lunch, they took me to my company. Holy shit, the whole building was my gaming company. Was I really that awesome? My godfather asked the tech department to bring over a game currently in development for me to see. After watching the demo, my dad said, this game feels okay at first, but after that there's really no feeling at all. The skins have no feeling. The skill effects have no feeling either. Hearing that, I almost dropped the tablet right onto the table. Yeah, I tried it out myself, didn't feel much either. My godfather chimed in. Well, I think it's okay. There's some feeling, just a little, but I don't know much about games, so I won't comment further. My godmother added. What do you mean no feeling? The people from the tech department are right here. You just keep saying no feeling. No feeling. Don't you know that starlight never fails those who keep walking, and time never disappoints the devoted? Do you realize how hard they've worked day and night developing this game? I interrupted angrily. That endless repetition of the words, no feeling, really hit my sore spot. Everyone stared at me, stunned. I swiped a few times on the tablet and said again, how is there no feeling? Where's the lack of feeling? I think it's great, it feels amazing to me. Then I tossed the tablet onto the table. This is what I truly love and pursue from the bottom of my heart. Even if I died 9 times over, I would never regret it. As long as they're chasing their dream, they shouldn't be humiliated by anyone. The people in the tech department quickly spoke up, saying it was just normal work discussion, and they didn't feel humiliated. Willow suddenly burst into loud laughter. I stormed off, furious. A long while later, they found me in the break room. Seeing them trying to suppress their laughter made me feel mortified. I knew Willow must have told them the reason behind my outburst. That Willow, not only lacking emotional intelligence but also completely shameless, she was going to be the death of me. It took all 5 of them taking turns to coax me before I finally agreed to go home with them. Yes, they had bought me a villa in City A. Both families were even gradually relocating their companies there. When we got to the new house, my dad walked in and said, look at this little bridge, the flowing water, that pavilion, feels good, doesn't it? Feels good, really good. The other 3 adults echoed in unison. Ah, Willow screamed and ran straight into the villa. I was left standing outside, windblown and bewildered. In the days that followed, I consulted a professor of medicine from Peking University and found out that my too fast issue was caused by psychological tension. With time and familiarity, he said. It would improve. So, whenever I had free time, I went to discuss the way with Willow. Didn't she say the path was long and difficult? Then I had to make sure she attained enlightenment. Didn't she say she didn't feel anything? Then I wouldn't stop until she begged for mercy. Anyway, we don't fight anymore, now we just argue with reason. Later on, Willow and I picked an auspicious day and went to register our marriage. On the day of our graduation, we held a grand wedding ceremony, truly spectacular. Not only did executives from major domestic and international corporations come personally to congratulate us, but even representatives from the government attended. After graduation, Willow decided not to continue her studies. Instead, she devoted herself fully to managing the company. As for me, of course, I stayed at Peking University to continue my studies and research. The following year, we had our first baby, and since I also had the nickname Diligent, before long, Willow was pregnant again. 2 kids in 3 years, basic operation. Nothing to brag about. As for my aventator, I sealed it carefully with a thick layer of resin for preservation.